You got a whore or two to like the supervisor.
Motherfucking goddamn orange peel beef.
All right, everybody, it's one fucking hour time, and what the hell is going on to my left?
I gotta have my hat. I don't do the podcast without my hat.
Is this your lucky hat? Is this your lucky hat? All right. I guess we'll have to go all the way out to the Rockaways and get your fucking hat and do the show. All right, of course, this is the show where we have 1 fucking hour to talk about one goddamn movie. And tonight is a big one, big, chunky, meaty meat sauce film that we're going to get into. Very excited about. We're going to be doing 1 fucking hour on Goodfellas. But let me introduce my boys here. To my left, in the lucky hat, we got Big T, Tom Fitzgerald. What's going on, man?
Oh!
There's going to be...
Just wanted to do the inaugural one.
The inaugural.
No, it won't actually.
There's going to be a lot of that, I think, tonight. So, all right, let's do it. And then, of course, we got to my right, as always, here, Mr. Marcus Herring. Marcus, what's going on?
I'm super pumped for this. It's been kind of like a Henry Hill day for me, where I got to go here and do this and do this and do this and move over to this thing and this thing. It's it's high stress and like
the sauce,
one thing to the next. So it's a perfect movie to talk about.
Are you stirring?
You stirring the sauce?
Yeah,
it's very
I'm stirring
important. Very important, Marcus. Very excited about this. Let's just real quick before we, get into the hour in the show, everyone might be like, oh my God, do we need an hour on Goodfellas? Really? Well, yes. Yes, you do, because
you need
tonight,
this hour.
Exactly. Because we're going to get deep into our most specific, esoteric details that we appreciate about this movie. We're going to try to make this deep cut Goodfellas as much as we possibly can. Isn't that right, Tom?
Frightening details. Really, like alarming observations.
Okay. Yeah, that's where we're going to basically start with this hour. It's not going to be your traditional, a little bit of backstory, little history. How did Marty come up with the idea? Oh, it's not going to be any of that.
Nicholas Pileggi over here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, none of that. No. Who cares?
No,
everybody already knows it.
Everybody knows it. Who gives a shit? We're just going to talk about the movie and live in the bask in the sauce of this movie, which we're going to do. But before we do that, I want to give a quick shout out, of course, to the 1 fucking hour Patreon. Patreon.com/1fucking-hour is where you can sign up for just $5 a month and get instant access to all of our bonus episodes, all of our audio commentary tracks. Had some new signups here last week, which was awesome. People getting into that bonus shit. We just put up our most recent bonus episode last week, pairing with Tom's birthday episode, which was sort of a deep dive into the movies that made us. Very fascinating. Wide range of Robert Bresson, going all the way to Weird Al Yankovic. There was some, we spread the gamut on, the movies that really shaped, who we are and the cinephiles we are today. So it was a very fun episode. The only way you're going to hear that is up on the Patreon, or if you want to keep all your shit together on YouTube, you can scroll underneath this video and click the join button and become a Moman of the channel and get access to the same perks, same price, same bullshit. We appreciate it so much. And guys, tonight is episode 97 of 1 fucking hour. So we are dangerously close to 100. And hopefully, I think, I'm going to say it here, that when we do decide and commit to what episode 100 will be, I think we're going to unveil something pretty special on that episode that will going to be maybe a new frontier for the show. So stay tuned for that because that's coming up in just a couple of weeks. But guys, are you ready to rip into Goodfellas here?
We're going to rip into it.
We're going to rip into it. Tear it down. We hate it.
Yeah.
That's our hot take. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Start the clock. Here's the clock. Boom. All right. And of course, there's no need to get into a synopsis or what this movie is. Who gives a shit? Tom, you had sort of a way you specifically wanted to start out this show. So Tell us where should we start with this exploration of Goodfellas?
Yeah, it was just a thought where we do the round robin thing, and each of us would just pick, like, not even like a scene or something, but like just any detail, any specific thing of Goodfellas where it just really resonated with you, and it's like kind of a fave, you know.
Yeah.
And I have mine. I guess I can just go first here. Yeah, it's just it's when they're at the nightclub and Jerry Vale is singing. Pretend you don't see her. And it's great because Scorsese does this. What happens in the scene is just a long, slow pan of the boys and their gumars, the girlfriends. And it just, each of them has the same facial expression. They're staring up at Jerry Vale singing. It's a very pretty song, an old kind of mid-century crooner way. And yeah, the lighting is very romantic. And it just shows each of their faces. And we've otherwise seen these people acting like homicidal maniacs and with maniacal laughter and like blood in their faces and screaming and insanity. But here you're seeing their faces are still, especially Pesci's face and Tommy. And it's great because, there's a point to this with Scorsese. He's doing like that kind of move where it's like, like this is even this beautiful moment, this music is stirring and touching the soul of even the most savage, insane, evil creeps ever, and they're just in awe of the beauty of it. And he just makes that point happen. He does it beautifully. It's very graceful, and it takes its time, and it just plays right out. It's like maybe like half of the song's length, and getting into it's beautiful and graceful, and then getting out of it's beautiful and graceful. So that always stuck with me, that scene.
I think I remember that moment. Like, I think it starts with the camera behind the singer, right, and it's kind of panning left to right, and then the light like shimmers against the lens for a second, and there's a flash, and the audience is like, there's a quick moment where they're all kind of lit blue, and there's just a beautiful kind of like lighting thing that's happening in that scene too.
Yeah, great choice.
On the entryway.
Great choice. Yeah, totally. Great quiet little moment nestled between the insanity of sociopaths.
And then cut to like, come on, dance for us, Spider. Ow! It's like, and that's what I mean. The juxtaposition,
right.
is it's a grace note, and he totally gets away with it, in my opinion.
Totally. Absolutely.
Right. It's an oasis in an otherwise film full of psychotic, infantile madness.
Right. Marcus, do you have a moment akin to that?
I don't know if it's a favorite, but there's a moment that jumped out to me that I've always loved, and it hopped out at me on this most recent rewatch too, where it's also at the bar or club. Like it's always one of those places, right, in this movie, or like it's a 50-50 chance it's going to be. But the character Frenchie comes in to tell him like it's the key heist. We're like, I got to get the key first or whatever. And he's talking to Henry, and they're leaning over talking, and then it cuts to Jimmy De Niro.
I'll take care of it.
And the music swells. There's this violin swell from this awesome song. I forget the name of it right now. What is it, Tom? Do you remember the name?
It's in Italian. I can't remember. It's this female singer. It's a gorgeous song,
and
it's amazing. It's otherwise a nice slow ballad, but it has this stirring strings in the. Kind of the middle of the song.
A really stirring string section, and then combined with a zoom, like a push in on, it's like a dolly in, one of the famous dolly ins, but this time it's like sped up.
Yes.
So it's really, I mean, all the Scorsese dolly ins are working full force in this movie. Yeah. Every single one of them works seamlessly. Yeah. But this moment it's sped up.
Yeah. And
it just hit me watching it this time. It was such a great little moment. It didn't have to be there, but it was. And what it underlined for me, it's like, this movie is like a great song in a way, like a great song by like Led Zeppelin or the Beatles or something. It's a good song structure, but then they put all these little melodies over the top. Like Jimmy Page is playing like a little lick in the middle of the song, or like the Beatles put a little
sample,
piccolo going like doo 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 in the background. And there's just that one little moment, and it catches you, and you remember every single one of those little melodies and instrumental moments in a Beatles song. And this movie is like that too. He's just packed in all these great little memorable melodies, like visual melodies, basically, and that's one of them.
Good. That's a good way of thinking about it, because that perfectly captures what mine is, or just something that comes to mind. I remember on this most recent rewatch, just like seeing this shot, or these two shots specifically, and being like, oh, this is just. These are shots suitable for framing, as we say on this show. And my moment is in the very grisly and violent sequence when Henry Hill is confronting the neighbor and basically pistol whipping him in the fucking face,
dude,
which is terrifying. But
you want something, fucko?
yeah, right.
What do you want, fucko? You want something? Huh? Oh,
Hey, don't shoot! I love that guy.
Don't shoot!
But anyway, that's not specifically my moment. I mean, it is, but the detail within is just when Henry Hill gets out of his car, and it's this beautiful framed shot of the cherry trees, specifically the cherry trees is what I'm talking about, and how that's just this perfect accent of pink that you have in the frame. That's very kind of like, this movie has strange pops of color at weird times. And this is definitely one of them, where you're noticing the pink cherry trees. And then the reverse shot, when he's walking over to up the guy's driveway, you see these very red, intense bushes. And it looks like that scene, it almost looks like it's shot through infrared or something when he's about to come in and club this guy in the face. And just for whatever reason, the odd coloring of vegetation in this has stuck with me. And then as a little side dish, if you will, to that, I also want to shout out the white Christmas tree as well, which is amazing. And that shot in their home when it pushes in on the white Christmas tree after, it's right after that scene where De Niro's busting everybody's balls for spending money after the Lufthansa heist.
Right.
And then it just has
it might be the first shot of the Layla thing, right?
No,
the
that's
that's
the pink.
They kill sticks. So
No, that's that's the pink car, which is another moment of color. That little moment when you have Johnny Roast Beef and his wife in the car, and that beautiful camera push in as Layla fades in, and it's just these little moments.
The first time you come across the scene is you're actually seeing the reaction shot of the kids.
Yes, right.
Stumble on this thing. No, but it's funny. I had a note about this is going to be a jam on details, but I'm glad you mentioned the ornament. Well, actually, it's the he's focusing and slowly a pan in on an ornament of the white Christmas tree,
right?
With that great song, whatever that is, like the bells of Saint Mary or whatever, like Bing Crosby or some shit. Yeah. And it's so haunting because it's such like old mid-century. Dusty, sad, old kind of Christmas. But what really kills me, and again, we're getting into the details here, back to the music, Marcus, is the slow zoom in on the ornament, the blue ornament, more color. But then Stax is murdered, and he actually makes this great choice. It just feels right. He reprises that bells of Saint Mary as he's zooming away from the corpse of Styx.
Yeah.
And it's
and
like,
you know what?
Wow, interesting choice.
No, you know what? There is because look, shout out to our episode about on 1 Fucking Hour on After Hours, which we have in the archives. We were sort of like saying that After Hours was sort of the experimental, Scorsese getting down to the nitty gritty and sort of capturing, himself as a filmmaker, and you see him playing around with tracking shots and whiz pans and all this crazy, stuff. And that's definitely utilized to the maximum here in Goodfellas to make a really pop sort of film and moment. But you see these little moments throughout the film, which really popped for me on this last rewatch, which is you have after Samuel Jackson's character, as you mentioned, Stax, is murdered, there's that reprise where we see it again in slow motion, even from a different angle of Joe Pesci in slow motion firing the gun with a music playing. It also happens when they're out in when they're dumping Billy Batts's body. There's a reprise with a stylistic editing and slow motion. I love those little flourishes that are born in the edit.
Wild. Yeah, when he shoots him, and then they're like, he's like, get that coffee to go or whatever,
That's
right?
the best.
And it's like,
What the fuck you doing? It's a joke. Put the fucking pot down. You gotta take the coffee.
and the guy's like, okay. And he goes to the kitchen. He's like, what the fuck you doing? It was a joke or whatever.
Amazing.
And they leave, and then he shoots him again. All of a sudden, it cuts back to him shooting him again. Yeah,
And the reprise of the music that you last heard with the zoom in on the ornament.
Yeah.
And it's like he just did so much right there to like screw your brain up about like associations, of all kinds. I just want to give a shout out to him because what you were saying before is like, so much experimentation in After Hours, so much. And sorry, I said Stacks. I got that wrong.
Yep.
But
gotcha.
But he had experimental touches, of course, in like the famous shot in Taxi Driver where he does the zoom in on the Alka-Seltzer.
True.
If you remember, and that was controversial because was it Columbia Pictures? The producers were like, "What? Cut that scene! Why am I looking at a fucking Alka-Seltzer? It's like a TV commercial over here." And that was, a very overt. There's a couple of them, but an overt Godard reference. Actually, Godard was big for Scorsese, and these little kinds of moves are. It's not. Making his own version of Godard. He's just showing the inspiration that he had of the French New Wave, of taking these kinds of risks, even in what seems like a pretty conventional narrative story, like a mobster movie. And he's making. I mean, that the zoom in on the ornament is just. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just creating a tone and a feel, and what I'm saying. The bottom line is, it's one of those moments like Godard where he the director is making an overt move that makes you remember, like, I'm watching a film. You know what I mean? You're not lost in the story. It's like this is a filmmaker's move, and it's obvious. And you are experiencing it. It makes you conscious of the movie making.
It somehow it adds some like intellect to just a moment, or like you're kind of there with your thoughts, and you're able to kind of like have a breath to have your brain sort of work on and think about the movie for a second, and it feels deep in that moment, those little moves and stuff. And there's like this, there's this spectrum of Scorsese dollies in my head, where you do see it in the early days, Taxi Driver, and I believe you do see it in Mean Streets as well. Like, but like he's sort of like messing around with them. But then, and then you go to Goodfellas, whatever, where it's like perfect, and then you go to like Wolf of Wall Street or something where they get to be more, they're more pronounced, they're more frequent. They feel more. They stick out more to me. And Goodfellas seems like the perfect level of like they're just seamless to me. I don't know if it's just like because I grew up in this movie, or what, but the execution of them always just seems so perfect and seamless in this.
Yeah, because Casino gets a little big with a lot of the Goodfellas moves.
Yeah, it does,
and maybe it's too much a little bit.
Maybe just kind of continuing the round robin, if that's the way we're going to go, maybe throughout this whole show. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah.
Let me just throw one out to see what this also could have been another one that I would have picked that I kind of I forgot. I love the part of the movie as soon as I think it's like I want to say about halfway when Henry Hill is really getting into cocaine. Is from that point forward is like my favorite stuff is from that point onward kind of in the movie.
Sure.
And man, I love that little section when it's the Gimme Shelter drops and now we're in Sandy's apartment where she's mixing the cocaine. I love that world and that time period. And this movie really starts to capture
all those like pretty shots of cocaine being cut.
Amazing.
Like close-ups,
Amazing.
And, was it Debbie Mazar? Right?
Debbie Mazar, yeah.
She looks great in it. Like she fits the part of like sleazy 1974 kind of feel.
Yeah, it's great. It's so great.
Yeah.
Just shout out to that moment.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
that's
I love
a great
that.
one. You reminded me of something, not to jump. Well, I guess we'll be jumping around all over the
We're
place,
jumping.
but
We're
when you talked
round-robining.
about the guy, Bruce, the guy that lives across the street from her, who she's known, and who he beats who pistol whips.
Yeah.
I noticed this time how he applies the blood on his face. Like I saw how they did. I saw the filmmaking this time. It's the first time I've watched it like in 4K or whatever. But he hits him, he pistol whips him. He's got nothing on his face. He pistol whips him. It's a continuous shot. And then the guy he goes like, when he gets hit. And then when he's away, he's got the blood streaking down his face, around his nose or whatever. And then you can see the blood on his hand or whatever. But it was cool that I wasn't like that's a flaw or whatever, but I was just digging like, oh, that's how they did it. Like after whatever, how long has it been? 30 years, I finally see a little bit of how they made this movie.
It's amazing.
It is a continuous shot. That's true.
That moment is so fucking violent. I mean, with just the sound effect.
In a way, it's the most violent scene.
It is, of the gun hitting the guy's face and just what it does to you viscerally to hear that.
Oh, I know.
And then the close up on the gun when she gives it, when he gives it to Karen to hide. It's like got the sticky blood on it. Like it's.
I was just going to say that the follow-up, I'm glad we're kind of living in this scene for a moment, because the follow-up of that close-up where it's almost like there's a little bit of hair.
Yes,
you know,
almost.
It's disgusting, you know, and like a little bit of skin or something. No, but what's really sick is like a very un-PC, if you want to put it that way, line she says. You know, it's like, you know, like he's like, throw away the gun, and she's like, to tell you the truth,
I gotta admit the truth. It turned me on.
it kind of turned me on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, amazing.
You know, that's just like some heavy, old school, mid-century tri-state area, fucking heavy duty shit. You know.
Yeah.
I was tweaking on her fingernails a little bit in this time watch because it felt so natural. They look good. And they feel so natural. And this is reminding me of a time when I was doing a video and like I was like, make the fingernails dirty, and then the person came back with like French nails, and I was so pissed because I was like, these look awful. But her fingernails they're nice. They look very clean, and you see them a few times. Whatever hand model they use for her or hand, insert person, it looks good. It was well done. It's not too overdone, not too overkilled. You know, where they're like, it's just kind of the perfect amount.
Well, now I'm going to have to rewatch the movie again.
You missed her fingernails? Oh, God. Have you even seen Goodfellas?
Guess not.
Like, there's 2 shots for fingernails.
You mean that fingernail movie? Yeah. Oh, fuck.
So
what's wrong with me?
So how about we talk Maury? Do we want to talk Maury's wigs? I mean,
sure.
We always love talking about Maury's wigs. Amazing character. Absolutely love how he's, until he does get whacked, he
steals the movie kind of.
Yeah.
No, he really does, right?
Yeah. I mean, he does.
An unconscionable ball buster.
Yeah, right.
Jimmy's being an unconscionable ball breaker. Okay, give him 8-5 on Cleveland. Look.
Come on,
right.
What kind of line is that?
Yeah, and it's amazing how he walks the line of just like this guy's gonna get killed because he's just
only a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time.
Fucking wouldn't shut up.
Yeah. It's amazing because he's always asking about the money, and it's amazing. And I also love the that moment, of course, right before when De Niro's character knows he's going to kill him, and it's that fucking Sunshine of Your Love. Dude. Clapton hits really hard. Clapton in general is hitting fucking hard in this movie.
Well, let's be a little more kind. It's like that's a Killer Cream song.
It is.
So it's not Clapton solo 1976. It's like that's when Cream's good, I think they really come through.
Sure.
Like they're also really great in Casino. So respect.
Yeah.
Like Badge in Casino, it's great.
Yeah.
No, I think the piano part is actually not Clapton too. The piano part for Layla isn't that
Derek
written
and the
by
Dominoes.
It's Derek and the Dominoes, but like it was, I can't remember if it was Bobby Bland or the drummer or somebody was like that wrote the piano part separately.
Shit.
And then you got Dwayne Allman playing the slide guitar over the top. So like it's kind of like,
it's so great. It's such a, obviously it's iconic. Everyone talks about the Layla montage, but it's killer.
But with Maury, I wouldn't mind with entering the Maury zone, I'm going to call it, is just a little shout out to something that we talked about in a previous episode. We're kind of doing the opposite of it. We had done The Doors in the past, and we were talking about how the 1991 film The Doors has no excuse for having like really scathing, fugly, anachronistic like carelessness, with the details. Yeah. Like just everyone kind of like a crowd scene, like some girls got like a metal hairband hair in the front row, and it's like
grunge. Yeah,
and I'm sure they're just like, oh, close enough. But this movie, I'm going somewhere with this. It's like this movie doesn't go like, oh, close enough on the details. It's excruciating. And it's a year before The Doors, so there's no excuse. But like one thing I wanted to point out, this is specific. This is when I fell in love with the details of the accuracy at the times. When I first saw this movie, is the ad for Maury's wigs.
Yeah.
And this is insane. So we're doing the details here. It's how the title cards are laid out, how they drop, and how they're a little opaque, and the font choice. Like Marcus can appreciate this stuff. But just like, I've seen old commercials, like in 1968, local television New York commercials, they would look exactly like that. The fidelity of the image and the audio, and it's insane how they nailed that. Like that didn't happen much, the accuracy before or even after, to get like 1968 New York area local Channel 5 ads. It's like, what the fuck?
It
and
is
they just
spot
nail
on.
it. Right?
Well, yeah, it is spot on. In a way, they were still probably using half that equipment. It probably wasn't, today you have to fake it with like After Effects or something.
Right.
But in a way, they could go to like a TV,
Sure.
Whatever the local cable station,
That's true.
and have it made.
But they cared to. There's care.
There's care.
There's care.
There's care in everything for sure.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, this does seem like a detail kind of entryway, right? I totally agree with you that like
I'm not done with Maury though. I'm not done with Maury.
Maury. Okay, sorry, I thought we were doing like time. I'm getting lost already. Okay, go ahead.
No, I mean we'll get back to the detail. I mean this is kind of going to be all details.
Let's do Maury. Fuck it.
Let me just say one thing on Maury.
The first thing about details in the Maury zone.
Yeah, just like his death scene is also very brutal. I mean, it goes back and forth. Like, is he going to get whacked? And then, oh shit, yeah, he's definitely going to get whacked. And then it's like, what that line that is it De Niro that's like, chop him up, okay, or chop him up,
Chop him up and give him to the cop. Call me when you get through.
Yeah.
And it's like, Jesus Christ,
they're so sick of it. It's
and
also
they're like
routine.
And then Pesci's like, he calls him a dizzy motherfucker. Is what he refers to him as. And
but the thing is we were talking about like Maury's last words because I'm Team Maury. Maury really does steal the movie for me. It's like, and what I mean by that is like when he's on the screen, it's just like the movie, and you're loving the movie, and it's just like even more fun, and you do sort of lose something when he's gone.
Totally.
But one of the last things he's saying, because he's just a blabbermouth, is it's like 4 a.m, like, let's get some coffee at a diner, and it's like, yeah, let's go to that one diner in Rockaway, and it's like, I'll get some Danish for Bell.
They got Danish there?
Yeah, they got everything.
Oh, good. Yeah, let's pick up some Danish for Bell. Take a couple more. Do you hear about the points we were shaving up in Boston?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's terrific. Yeah, Nunzio up in
Yeah.
I mean, I want to kill him right now. Yeah. It's like 4 a.m, like, shut the fuck up about your wife's Danish for Bell.
And it's
like,
before that. It's right before that. Isn't it like right before that where Henry Hill tells Jimmy Conway like, there's all this. He just says all this crazy shit. No one listens to him. It's all a bunch of bullshit that he says. But what I love, just to put a bow for me on Maury, is great touch. In the script when we do lose Maury, I think it adds weight to the character and it makes us care even more about him. In that how they cut to that scene with his wife panicking. Dude. She comes into the house and it's like, I know something's wrong in 25 years.
No, she looks right at Henry like, like, and she sees like right through his eyes because he can't, he's more of a human than the other lizard people in the mob. And he's just like, his eyes get vulnerable and she's like, she sees right through it. Like, that's chilling.
Yeah, it is. And she's like, I know something's wrong in 25 years. Very, very just dark and tragic. It gives tragedy and humanity to a character that is so far mostly been a punchline, but that we love. But I know. It's great.
Well, I love the way that film's that part's executed too, because like a lot of this movie is very controlled. It's on just talk about I always like the cinematography or whatever, but it's on sticks and it's dollying and or panning or something. At that moment, it's handheld and it's a wide angle and you're close up on the faces, and it's moving around. It's very frenetic, and of course it matches that energy of like this wife frantically looking for her husband. But I just felt so I did the smile watching because it's so liberating to be like, oh, you could just do the best shot that works for that moment and be creative, and it doesn't have to be like this is a whole handheld movie or this is a whole like one shot movie or whatever. People get so wrote about their execution, but this is like, I don't know. He's
French
just so
New
liberated.
Wave school, just like there's no rules, not necessarily,
whatever it calls for. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but can I just say the follow up? Like you're talking about, like the soul searing look she gives Henry, the wife, and it really gets you. It's one of the few scenes where there's like some real, like heavy emotions about all these murders. No, but can I give you like the follow up? Jimmy's follow up later after Henry's like saying like, well, you should tell Belle something. He's like, what the fuck you care about her?
So what the fuck you want me to tell Belle? Who gives a fuck? Tell me we ran off with some broad. What do you care about her?
That's literally what he says. Like they're walking out of the diner before they talk to the FBI guy. I'm just like, you fucking care about her. He's so dismissive
Yeah.
He's dismissive of Henry's emotions about her emotions. Just like, the fuck you care. It's like, what are you even talking? Why are you even saying this?
Yeah.
You know?
And it's
her,
great.
Her life ending because her loved one is gone.
Yeah.
And it was him who did it. Them who did it. And he's like, we fucking care.
And it is great too that they gave, Henry Hill, like, he's kind of a sort of moral center to the movie.
He's kind of an us.
Yeah. He's an us for those moments, But then it plays kind of, for Jimmy Conway's character when Joe Pesci is murdered, or when he's clipped in the fucking, that scene's obviously amazing.
Telephone booth.
But telephone booth, yeah, his whole reaction. It's always unnerving and uncomfortable when De Niro has to cry in a movie. But he pulls it off, man.
It works for me,
It works for me too. It's crazy.
Great scene. And he lets it ride, and it lasts a few beats longer, and it just like you just sit there in that parking lot, like letting him just kind of like breathe. It's very intense. And there's a few things going on because he loved Tommy, because they're all like brothers in arms of insanity. But he also was like, this is my way to get in and be, ancillary or adjacent to a made man. Can I bring up another thing about like sort of the soul of all these people, creeping through? Like, there's something that we've talked about before in the Straight Time episode about how I think all of us, in general, don't really understand like criminals, criminal acts. People who live a life of crime. It's like, yes, it's economic or maybe mental illness, but it can be fun, and life can often be not fun. Like you're a fucking bus driver or something, like life can just be kind of like a drag,
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, to the point is, there's this great moment when they hijack yet another truck, and like Joe Pesci's just like starts shooting his gun in the air, and literally they're going, Yahoo! And it's like a Wild West movie. It's like they just robbed the stagecoach, and they're having the time of their lives. And like, and he's who's the lead guy? I forgot the name. What am I saying?
Henry Hill?
Ray Liotta.
Henry's like laughing hysterically behind the wheel. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, sure.
It's that feeling of like, there's a lot of complexity here. Like, yes, they're kind of stuck, and what else are they going to do to make money because they're working class? But also, they're just having a good time a lot of the time, and it's insane and awful, and it's not a good time for any. It's not an idea of a good time for any of us, but they feel very alive, and you can see the faces of two people who are very alive. It's a disturbing thought, but just opening up to you guys.
Well, what's the there's some criticism of these Scorsese gangster movies out there where it's like showing too much that it's seductive or it's too whatever. But I think that's true. That's authentic to the participants in this world of crime.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, is that they that there has to be something for them that makes it alluring and that makes it something that they want to be a part of and to sort of drop out of society and become
exactly and
their own
adventure.
Outlaws. Yeah,
outlaws. Thank you. Exactly.
Yeah.
What you're saying makes total sense, and that's what sort of always resonated with me about this film compared to Godfather. Which I always felt was like much more romanticized mafia to the max, kind of, the lighting, everything. And then this movie sort of like kind of breaks down that romanticism in a way. The first half is very like, warm and sweet, and like Paulie's kind of like almost like a Santa Claus or like a granddad or sweet grandpa or something, But it does, when it gets into the 70s and the coke, it's very like turn off kind of thing. But this movie's when Sopranos came out, I was sort of like, wow, so that really de-romanticizes the mafia. It makes Goodfellas look like it's only romanticizing the mafia, because Sopranos is so like, they're so low rent in their lifestyle,
so steeped in common reality.
Well, they're
not having an outlaw adventure. It's more like closer to like our lives.
Well, you have to
like tedium and stress, and you know what I mean. It's like, or not our lives, but like the life of the average person is more closely related, especially because the thrills are long gone, and they've calloused on of any of the thrills that they might have had when they were like 20 with this lifestyle, and now they're just kind of stuck in a rut, and it's like, all right, let's get the coke, let's get the guy, we got to kill that guy, and like it's been routine,
you gotta
almost
work.
like anything else. Yeah,
you got to also keep in mind the historical context too, because by the early 80s, all of the families were destroyed. Basically, they were all put behind bars. The whole New York tri-state area organized crime thing was completely, disintegrated. And so they kind of go from the Copacabana sort of lifestyle of living like kings and doing whatever the fuck they want, making printing money, and essentially having to kind of go back to doing low-level crime. And then, of course, The Sopranos, takes that even a step further when it's like, what do we got today? Yeah, I'm going to be hijacking a truck full of Pokemon cards, or whatever the fuck.
I know. Or like, hey, look at all this Verizon cable.
Yeah, right.
Steal,
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I'm just going to grab something here from my bag of my Goodfellas bag here. This is a scene that's often talked about a lot, but there's one aspect of it I want to just zero in on, which is, I think, yes, Marty, the attention to detail, the camera work, the camera tricks, the montage, the editing is all what makes Goodfellas great. But one just element too that if it didn't have this, you wouldn't have the same movie, which is the improvisational skills of these actors. You would not have the same movie. Because I've read, and not to get into too much history with the movie, I just read this today, that the studio was really pushing and considering for Henry Hill Tom Cruise. They were pushing for Karen, they were pushing Madonna, and for Jimmy Conway, they were pushing John Malkovich. So it could have been John Malkovich, Madonna, and Tom Cruise. Okay, so think about that for a second. But no, of course you have De Niro, you have Pesci, and a lot of the stuff they're saying in this movie is not in the script. A lot of the stuff they're saying is full improv, and it's fucking amazing to watch. So the moment for me, when you ask me what my favorite moment is, it might be this, which is in the scene with Michael Imperioli, right? Spider, right? So when Spider is, he shoots him in the foot, blah, 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 but then he comes back again to give him the drink, and then of course he shoots him, kills Spider in this moment of
yourself.
Yeah, go for amazing. That
Why don't you go fuck yourself, Tommy?
That was the only line that was in the script. The rest is improv.
I see what you mean.
So fucking the line that kills me is De Niro saying to Joe Pesci,
I'm kidding with you. What the fuck are you doing? Are you a fucking sick maniac?
I don't know if you're kidding. What do you mean you're kidding? You're breaking my fucking ball?
"You some kind of sick maniac now?"
Yeah.
After he shoots him. "You come some kind of sick maniac?" And then it's insane what fucking, and then Pesci says his family is all rats.
Fucking rat anyways. Whole family's all rats. You would have grew up to be a rat.
Is what they say about him.
He's like, whole family of rats.
Yeah, whole family of rats.
Yeah, growing up to be a rat. Yeah.
And then
grew up to be a rat.
And then fucking De Niro says, "You're digging the fucking hole. I'm out of fucking lime."
Now you're gonna dig the fucking thing up. You're gonna dig the hole. You're gonna do it. I got no fucking lime. You're gonna do
Fuck
it.
cares? I'll dig the fucking hole. I don't give a fuck.
I'm out of lime, and it's like, well, no, there's all kinds of improv. Like that guy, I can't remember his name, but that extra guy is like
Frankie Carbone.
Nice card game. Yeah. Okay.
Carbone. Yeah.
Carbone. Yeah.
Carbone. Right. Thank you.
Yeah. Nice
It's
card game.
Yeah, good card game. Nice card game. Okay,
but
cool. But actually, there's two. It's like kind of lovably sloppy for me because there's the Spider 1 scene, a break with some Karen bullshit, and then a Spider 2, and I find it kind of like, this is a compliment, like gloriously sloppy. Like it feels like it's kind of breaking rules. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like we were here. Show. Yeah, like we were. It's not elegant. It's like we were here.
Yeah.
Bullshit in between, and then we're here, and it's the same but different because actually there's probably two sets of improvs. To my point is what I'm saying. It's like because when he's shot only in the foot and not killed in Spider 1. Like De Niro goes like, "Hey, take him to the doctor down the street."
Take him to the doctor down the street.
Fucking prick.
You know?
And
and then they're walking Spider out, and it's beautiful. Imperioli goes like, "Bones are all shattered."
Bones are all shattered.
Hey, don't get me upset now.
And like that kills me. Like violence is so abstracted in our sickening, contemporary media universe, but that always cuts to me like the vividness of like being shot in the foot because there's tons of little bones in your feet, right? And it's just like he's just looking down and going, "Bones are all shattered," and it's just like I don't know if that's improv. I'm gonna assume.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably though. Like to your point, And that the whole exchange kills me. And it's like, take him to the doctor. Like the routine of like the exhibition of like the routine of it. Like there's some doctor on his off hours has like a little office in his basement.
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
He's like, I got another one of these fucking mob guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they don't go to the hospital with Spider.
But the fucking like when he says I'm out of fucking lime, it's like Jesus, these fucking serial killers. You know, it's
Pesci's like, I'll dig the fucking hole. Where are the shovels?
Whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, there's a great little joke at the end.
The like burying dead bodies shovels. Well, it's also exhibiting that thing of like, this ain't the first time. This won't be the last time. They're like, like filling up, shelters, wines, like, was it root cellars, in someone's house in that area with bodies. Because, they find those bodies still.
So sure.
They're excavating houses every now and then in the tri-state area.
Yeah.
Like
Staten Island.
Unidentified bodies were dug up.
Yeah. Just real quick, I just wonder, just to put a cap on that scene, I just wonder at what point in the writing process did they decide to go like heavy into comedy, like heavy into black comedy? Because they must be having a fucking blast like shooting this and like just leaning into that, because that's another part of this like secret ingredient of this movie that really makes it so rewatchable and fun is just the depth of how black and crazy the comedy is. It's so great.
My guess is it's informed by Pesci, who out of all these people, Pesci truly was ancillary or adjacent, to the mob. Like, this is like, he was in New Jersey, he worked nightclubs, he was a singer. And he interacted with these guys, and the famous thing, and we're not going to get into it, but like do I lose you? I'm a clown.
Yeah,
that happened.
Yeah,
and
right.
He observed it. That is a thing that happened, and what I'm trying to say is I think he's met a lot of wisecracking. Yeah, guys who like were busting balls constantly. And there was probably lots of humor everywhere. And he was, and Pesci himself is a funny guy, and he probably was busting balls, and they probably liked him. And there was probably like 90% of exchanges were like jokey. And so he was probably bringing that, because like De Niro's not from that world at all. Like his father was a painter.
Right.
Martin Scorsese's like a sickly kid who went to movies all day. He's in Little Italy, but like Pesci like hung out with these guys, and so I think he was bringing a lot.
He's so good
of lived-in experience, and I think that he brought a surprising element where it's like that like they're always laughing and making jokes, right? It's like, is that clear? Like you're talking about The Godfather, like that ain't in The Godfather.
No,
not really. Maybe a little Jimmy Caan, not really.
No. Yeah, and that's such a huge part too of like what obviously The Sopranos would become too, right? Like, I'm sure that you're seeing it form here, just in terms, another just fucking killer, funny fucking scene in this movie. And we got to carve out some time for our homeboy, Johnny Roast Beef, because Johnny Roast fucking Beef is
like Artie Lang.
Yeah.
Totally.
He does. But that scene, obviously, it's very famous. But after the heist, and after the heist, when they're out at the bar, and he walks in, and he just bought his wife that pink car. But it's an amazing scene because it's that like dejected, sort of dressing down of like a mafia bonehead. That's just so.
But then the bonehead is like mumbling. When Jimmy turns his back, like, I just kind of wanted to do it. And he's like, what? You think I'm a fucking idiot? Trying to like wormy, like half-assed, like retort, but he's not really doing it. If you're talking about comedy timing, I just rewatched this too. It's like, with this in mind, that is pure, brilliant, as great as any comedy timing ever, where the Cadillac plays out, and then 3, 2, 1. Carbone and his wife wearing a fur coat comes in, and it's just like Jimmy doesn't say anything. And I saw this movie when it came out in a theater, and it was big laughs because it was just like, because he's silent for a second. Jimmy's just like, okay, maybe y'all didn't get the memo here, but like now we're taking your fur coat off, and I'm gonna dress you down. It's just was right. Is it so good? The timing of it all,
Yeah, it's classic comedy. That could be like in My Blue Heaven or something,
Right.
It's like, it's crazy.
Jimmy Blue Eyes.
What's Jimmy Blue Eyes? I don't know.
Steve Martin.
Go ahead.
okay, this is going somewhere, but for a second when I was watching it, I was like, oh, we should do a segment where we talk about how many Sopranos cast members they jacked, or how many Goodfellas cast members they jacked for Sopranos.
Big
Puss. But it just gets so overwhelming. It's like, oh, there's Big Puss and Beansy and the owner of the Tiki Bar and Imperioli, of course. Polly Walnuts is just nonstop. And then I start digging into it, and there's all these other extras that you don't even remember from Sopranos that are like in the background of Goodfellas. It's just like, it gets a little absurd. Just the amount of, cast he nicked for it. I'm glad for those guys to get to work.
It's the same area though, right? It's tri-state area. And if you're looking at the 8x10s, you're going to see, they're just there. They're just,
it's like, oh, and you were on Goodfellas. It's almost more notable the ones that he didn't get. It's like, why wasn't Carbone in Sopranos?
Oh, I wish.
Or why wasn't roast beef in in
Frenchie? I'm sure he was asked, but
Frenchie, he should have been.
Can I bring up another set piece? I was just remembering that again. I saw this one. Go ahead.
I just wanted to mention, because Phil, of course, is from Sopranos, is in this, and the scene, and I was kind of leading up to the scene where he gets killed, because there was a very chilling improv line from Pesci there.
You're talking Billy Batts. Billy Batts.
They kill Billy Batts, right?
Yeah.
And they roll him onto the fucking tablecloth, right? Yeah. And it cuts to Pesci for a second, and he's like in this frenzy of having just killed that guy, and he's like, it's just chilling. He's like, I did want to get blood on your floor.
I didn't want to get blood on your floor.
Whatever. Yeah. He's like kind of laughing, kind of panting, kind of like intensity, and that moment just feels. It's so chilling to me. He almost seems like inhuman, like he's in another state, like he is like a beast who just killed that guy, and he's kind of like operating on autopilot, going, I didn't want to get blood on your floor. That it's been,
that moment too is bookend. Like there's a weird thematic bookend where that is the bookend, because earlier on in the film, when Henry Hill is the young kid, one of the scenes when that guy, the first time he saw the guy get shot, and he comes in.
Oh, he shot me! Yeah,
and he comes into this place, and then the pizza place, and then the pizza guy goes,
"You wasted 8 fucking aprons on this guy. I don't know what the hell's wrong with you.
You're a real jerk for wasting eight fucking aprons on this guy.
8 fucking aprons on that guy.
I don't know what
toughen you up.
I don't know what the hell is wrong with you." But then it's like, I kind of thought that in that moment, it's like they're using the 8 fucking tablecloths, on Billy Batts, and there is kind of some connection there.
Scene. I think. Okay, so I was just remembering, I did see this right when it came out, and I was it was like 20, and the movie just came out, and I wasn't paying any attention. Like I didn't even know about it at all. I wasn't dealing with movies at all for that period of my life, and I just went to the movies and I was blown away. But this is what I'm saying. This is when I went, wait a minute, I really love this movie. This is surprising. It's funny, and I could tell the audience was also like really livened up by this scene that came out early in the film. It's so good. This is a great set piece for me. This is like my second favorite thing. Is I don't know. They all looked beat up, and they had bad makeup and bad skin. It's that incredible scene when she is entering the world of the mob wives.
Amazing.
And they're all chatting, and it's like, oh, he beat the hell out of her, and it's like, did you see like what that guy
quit
did
picking
to him?
At the sore that she has that little sore. Quit picking at that.
Like moles and sores and bad makeup and insane. By the way, more attention to detail.
Yeah,
really insane, horrible, cheap. She says it, in the movie, like polyester, and it's like ill-fitting, and like it looks like it was like they're knockoffs of like JCPenney kind of brands. But it's like this hen house, and they're all cackling, and it's and in this scene, she's our surrogate. Like, we're dropped into this world that's very extreme and very particular. You're not in it, or you're in it. It's like, there's the mob guys in their world, but then there's this insane other world where it's kind of like a very modern chic thing. Like there's stupid reality shows like Mob Wives. And
Married to the Mob.
It's very snooky. You know what I mean? But like the trashy females of the tri-state area is what I'm saying. But anyway, I'd never seen anything like that in a film. It was so like a depiction of those people, but it was so the filmmaking. See, Scorsese, what I like about him a lot is he really does know how to have a good time, and that scene is just fucking fun. It didn't have to happen. It doesn't have any particularly great point. It shows that she's
entering
out
the
of
world.
The loop.
Yeah, she's entering this world.
But it's like it could have been played totally differently. It could have been played drier. It could have, but it's just he's reveling in it. That's what I'm trying to say. He's having, and you get to steep in it, and you kind of live vicariously through her through this truly insane subculture. That's what I'm trying to say.
Here's something that's I think really great about that, because how many movies have we seen where the Karen type character, the wife, is basically a stick figure that's just there to be like, you gotta be home at this time, and whatever. And it's like
she does plenty of that, but
she does. But like she's also given these scenes where we're kind of seeing life through her perspective, and
she has her own narration.
She has her own narration.
It's so rare in a movie to have two narrators. I mean,
yeah, I love that.
The first time I was introduced to all of them at once, it was crazy.
But also,
she's just female, like he's saying, the wife.
Yeah.
Has her own voice, quote unquote.
But her experience is given some screen time, which isn't always the case in these types of movies. No. Which I do appreciate, and he does it so beautifully in that moment. One sorry for bringing back to Billy Bats, but that in the Shine Box scene, I just wanted to make sure this was on record. Is that the first time that we've ever seen a cinematic
come here.
I think it is in that moment, because that's the first time I've ever seen it in a movie.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was the first time.
How do you spell that? Is that EEOO? How do you spell that?
It's just an O with a lot of zeros. With a lot of O's. An O with a lot of O's.
Zeros. That's interesting.
There you go. That's how I spell it.
That's what he says as soon as. That's the first time I've ever heard it.
There might be another film. I mean, there could be another precedent.
Mention it in the comments, please. If there's an O that's before this, let us know, please.
But anyway, so there's just if we wanted to like play around a little bit with like a couple things, like there's an intersection in the film that I really like where the Gumar time happens, the girlfriend, and then Rossi, Rossi,
I
love that.
Yeah, there's a whore living in your apartment building.
Mr. Superintendent, yes, I want you to know, sir, that you have a whore living in 2R.
And she's hitting all of the intercom buttons.
Amazing.
And it's like, you got a whore at 2R to like the supervisor. And then it cuts to Janice Rossi, whatever her name is. And she's just like got a pillow over her head or something. That's, again, fun, dynamic, wild filmmaking. Great little scene.
And can I just nitpick the interior design of that for 1 second?
All day, dude.
So her apartment, the way it's designed to me, reads as not quite, because I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be the late 70s, because the montage at the end with the helicopter is 1980, right? So I was a little kind of confused at that sort of, Floridian.
Well, then again, Billy Bats is given a date stamp of like 1970, though.
No, Billy Bats is, but I'm talking about the scene you just mentioned with Janice Rossi. Her apartment is designed to me to look a little kind of like Scarface era, more so than late 70s.
If I'm going to stand on this one.
Okay.
I think it's probably like 1975. What I meant was like...
Really?
Well, I mean like Bats and then like jail. They go to jail for a while, remember?
Yep.
And that's like maybe like the mid to late 70s, jail.
Right.
So this is probably early 70s. And if you wanted really gauche apartment styles like that, decor, that would be happening in like the mid 70s.
It would? Like with that sort of like...
That all existed then, and it was informed... as you went into the 80s more, because they're being very careful about it. There's like certain things that aren't happening.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of like it's like exotica animal prints, vaguely oriental carpeting,
that's their house.
Very mid 70s.
I think that Henry Hill's
My
house
grandma lived in in apartment complexes that were not unlike that actually when I was a little kid.
Right.
So
it's funny because when you walk into any sort of like vintage furniture store here in Brooklyn, it looks exactly like her apartment, Janice Ross's.
But you mean 2R Rossi?
Yeah, it's 2R whore.
Where there's a whore.
There's a whore. But speaking of, real quick, the interior design of Henry Hill and Karen's later apartment that they have with that amazing beep beep boop boop boop, remote control that opens that stone grotto, reveal of the entertainment center. Fuck, that is like Playboy Mansion.
Well, they're doing the nouvelle riche, like gauche, like dumb working class people thinking like that's classy. Like, there's that great line. This might be improv. Debbie Mazar, when you first meet her, they're hanging out in Janice's bedroom, and she sniffs the perfume and she goes, French.
Yeah.
Which reads, is like classy.
Yeah, classy.
French perfume.
Yeah.
It's like,
amazing.
That nails it. Very
amazing.
subtle.
What about, I know this scene's talked about a lot.
Be careful.
And I'm being careful, but I know we wanted to touch on it. We pre-gamed this one, which be careful, which is just the scene with Marty's mom,
Dude, all day.
Would they go visit Joe Pesci's mom in the film, which is played by Marty's mom? It's such an amazing reprieve from an incredibly violent scene. It's in the middle of, it's bookended by two incredibly violent scenes of the death of Billy Batts. And it works perfectly
and then
with
the second death of him in the trunk.
Right. Well, yeah.
The finish off.
Right. The finish. But it's just the layers of
more comedy,
dark black pitch black comedy. But it's just, that is important because the black comedy is utilized for the purposes of really showing the compartmentalization that these fucking psychopaths have, where they can 1 minute stab a guy 800 times and then the other minute they could break bread with Ma,
But Henry can't.
This sauce is so good, it's so bad, my guts.
Right, Henry can't.
Like it's like boom.
Yeah,
they really use that moment to underscore the difference between Henry because he can't talk. And they're like, and the mom's like, "What's wrong with you? You don't talk, Henry.
Yeah, right,
What's wrong?
Right.
Totally.
He's content to be a jerk."
Yeah, right.
Tells that weird, like old Italian language, like proverb or whatever.
Yeah.
No, but then there's the great, more overt cinematic flourishes. That read like you're watching a film and takes you in a cool way out of the story.
Yeah,
is they zoom from the kitchen to out the door to the thumping of a person desperately trying to get out of the trunk of a car who's yards away from like Ma and like more sauce.
Yeah. And just shout out real quick while we're here. Just please shout out to the fucking mom's painting. It's incredible.
That really is my favorite moment.
Yeah, it really is.
One dog goes that way.
Yeah, one dog goes this way, one dog goes that way, and then
it's like, so what?
I like this one. One dog goes one way and the other dog goes the other way.
One is going east and the other one is going west. So what?
Yeah,
you guys know what that is, right?
No, and then it cuts to he comments on how the guy's face, in the painting, and this guy goes, "What do you want from me?"
And this guy's saying, "What do you want from me?"
No, it's like looks like somebody, like a friend of ours. It's like, yeah, without the beard.
Yeah.
No, I know. No, but you know what's really strange is maybe you guys have seen this. I'm not sure, but there's a National Geographic article. For some reason, and there's a photo essay of this man, whoever he is, and it's a photo of that guy, like living in Alaska.
So she painted a picture of that,
I'm assuming that Scorsese's mom did. In reality, maybe she is, but maybe also it was done by, like a craftsperson on set, or somebody. But it's an actual photo. Like, Google it. There's an actual photo that
amazing.
Wow, that's
amazing.
cool.
It's a cheap painting.
What about when he's like?
Quick side note: everyone talks about his mom being in the movie, but very few people mention that his dad is also in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's all about the pork.
Yeah.
Like he's in jail and they're making dinner.
And the pork and the sauce.
The big glasses guy is cooking up the pork.
Right.
That's where the flavor goes.
Yeah. How about that? There's another moment with Joe Pesci where he's just about to go get made. He's got the big collars and he's leaving his mom, and then the last thing he says to his mom.
First day at school with mom.
Yeah. And the last thing he says to his mom is, "Mom, don't paint any more religious."
Don't paint any more religious pictures, please.
God be with you.
Bye, Ma.
Pictures, paintings, or whatever.
Yeah, totally. They're the most religious paintings.
Yeah,
I know. She's incredible. Hey, I love her in Casino. She's great in Italian American 1974 documentary.
Totally.
She's in.
Yeah,
I think she's in Raging Bull. She's great. She's always fun.
We can't let this hour go by without just quickly touching, again, another set piece that people do talk about a lot, but there's some great moments within it that don't get discussed as much, which is just the jump into the fire And that too. Oh my God, we're gonna get to your hat. Don't worry. But just the whole jump into the fire.
Gotta do it.
Nielsen montage, incredible. But I just want to give a specific shout out to, you were talking earlier about, whatever the scene calls for is the style we're going to shoot it in. And there's just this incredible full on handheld doc style shooting in that whole sequence when they're, cooking dinner and whatnot. And he's leaving, and there's these amazing shots of them just in the kitchen, and it's fully handheld. It feels like very rugged run and gun, almost 16 millimeter doc footage of them in the, cooking the meal. It's incredible. I love it. Shout out to Kevin Corrigan, an amazing cameo.
I hope he's still stirring it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm stirring it.
Yeah, stirring it. It's incredible. And of course, we got to mention Lois Byrd.
Let's do this.
Because that thing to me, when she's of course looking at Henry Hill and saying that she can't travel with the stuff because she's got to get her lucky hat.
I gotta go home and get my hat.
Forget your fucking hat. What, are you kidding me?
That's got to be something that's taken from real life, because that's just too strange.
That feels 100% happening. Yeah, that feels so like you can't make that up. Like,
you can't write that. Yeah. And she's so great at it too. And I pulled this thing too real quick. I pulled the actress that played Lois Byrd. Here's a little.
She's really a babysitter. Just kidding. I don't know.
Oh God, no. Here's a couple sentences she said in an interview about her character. She said, "I wanted to provide some kind of counterpoint to this coke-addled day. I decided that Lois smoked a lot of pot. My feeling about her was that she had a rhythm that was unique to her. She wields such power from this sophomoric or apathetic place over these people who have guns and drugs and cars. I thought she loved that feeling of power. There was something in her that wanted to fuck him up. Not that it was calculated, but at the outer edge of her consciousness, a wedge that this would be kind of something and that he deserves it." So it's
I know what you mean.
It's
she kind of snarks at him when she's handcuffed and passing him in the police station.
Yes,
she's kind of like sorry.
Right.
Obnoxiously.
Yeah.
And you get the idea that she intentionally called from home just to to do the opposite of what he wanted. It wasn't like she forgot or whatever. She's like, fuck you. I'm just gonna do it
She's a troubled
anyway.
child.
Yeah.
But what I always loved, that's another thing. When I first saw the movie, I was like stunned into just like how against the grain, literally just like what she looked like to see a person who looks literally just like her image in a film that otherwise has like oh, and like those weird old collars, like just straight down,
it's amazing,
with your tie. Just the whole world is so steeped in like trashy Italiano, and then she's coming off like weird like she's almost like Following the Dead or something like that, or like she's like a college dorm, like girlfriend, roommate kind of thing, like
totally
1989. Like it's
so
very
funny.
Not everything else you've seen in the film. So it's just very, it's very, it pops really well. And also her character too, and her stupid hat and just the way she acts and looks and,
it's amazing. And there's a little
Easter
very
egg. Refreshing is what I'm trying to say.
And of course, they at least show her in her hat, in an earlier shot when they first introduce her as the babysitter. So you do get to see the hat that's in question.
That's true. You get to see it.
There's a bucket hat.
There's a quick shot of her like panning down to her plane ticket, and there's a black censor bar over it. Yeah, and I was like, well, I never saw it till this time. And I was like, what the fuck? So I looked it up, and it was like American Airlines didn't want to be affiliated with drug running.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, and their logo is on the plane tickets. They just did a quick little censor bar to cover it up.
I love that.
Pretty amazing.
It works in the movie because it's all so all over the place.
It does,
yeah.
Real quick thing.
3 minutes, yo.
I know, 3 minutes, yo. Real quick thing just about that whole montage. What's amazing is, obviously just the number of music drops in that one montage. It's not just one. It's like a million.
George Harrison,
Rolling
and going
Stones.
back to, like doing Monkey Man. Then doing two more songs, then going back to Monkey Man.
I know, it's
frantic, like
really
cooked up DJ.
But here's the thing. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Who does anybody know cocaine better than Marty Scorsese? I don't know. I don't think so. And this scene really feels like, you're high on cocaine. Like he captures the essence of cocaine, like a manic cocaine day, better than I've ever seen in any other film or TV show. Easily. So shout out.
But you're right. He speaks of what he knows. I mean, He was a major cokehead for like 15 years or something.
Yeah.
So, like he had a real problem, and it derailed his career. And so he got like after hours happening in his life, you know.
Yeah. Anything else, Tom? Take us home.
Oh shit! Looking over my notes. Shit. We're doing it. God, we're really doing all of it. Just the way the gun. Back to the bats killing. There's a lot of great quick editing filmmaking where like they're smashing at him, and at one point they're hitting his head with a gun on the ground as they're killing Billy Bats. And there's this great violent, like a shot that is violent, not the content, but the style of how the gun, a bloody gun, just shoots across the floor and it's broken up into pieces.
Yeah.
Oh, and the sound effect that drops there.
Yeah, like the gun just like disintegrates in blood
cool.
like across the floor.
That is wild.
That's weird choice. Weird choice. I love
also just quick, back. So go ahead, please. Yeah,
I love to. Maybe it's too notable of a scene, but I do like that when they pull off the heist, and this is kind of talking to the Godard kind of influence. When they pull off this giant heist, probably the biggest, what would be a turning point in any other gangster movie, is you'd see the fucking heist, but you don't in this movie. You just see Henry Hill in the shower banging on the tile, wall.
You did it, Jimmy.
Yeah, which is amazing because it's all in our imaginations. The whole thing is, and it's like because they talk about this guy is Frankie Carbone's going to tie up this guy and that guy. You never see that. Beef. It's all just right here.
But in your head, I'm seeing Johnny Roast Beef tying up guys. This is something I forgot. I'm going to kill myself if I don't.
Yeah. One
of the henchmen of Billy Bats, he always to me, since the moment I saw the film, looked like Vanilla Fudge's like booking agent or something. Meaning, it's the tri-state area, it's 1970, you're trying to be with it, but you're only really going to be with it by having like a black turtleneck and a blazer and a big medallion over your black turtleneck and like kind of like beetle hair and a sideburns, but it's 1970, so like it looks like weird and dated and not really that with it. It's so Staten Island 1970.
It's Carmine Apiece, right? It's Carmine Apiece vibes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's that kind of thing. It's the way the tri-state area guys tried to be with it, and it's just it's my favorite look ever. And there it is. The taller henchman of Billy Bats.
Yeah. I'll cut down. Yeah.
I loved how Tommy calls him Hendry. Young Tommy and old Tommy both call him Hendry.
Hendry.
Yeah, totally. Oh my God.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh,
we did it, guys. Now, take me to jail.
Yeah, right. Take me to jail.
I snuck one in.
Oh, you did. We didn't even talk about any of the jail stuff. Fuck. All right.
All right.
Anyway, that
was so fun.
That was fun. That's like rapid fire 1 fucking hour on Goodfellas. Just set piece.
Coked out 1 fucking hour.
It was.
It's like can't have it. Like fucking Magic Bus is playing. Like, changing topics. Like, like hitting the brakes. Like
totally. Goddamn that fucking hat. But yeah. So that was it. That was a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed that.
So fucking
maybe someday.
Tell us your favorite moments.
Oh yeah.
Moments.
If there's any really super specific, hyper deep specific,
like you see the layer we are. Go way down. Go lower.
Go lower. Yeah, and just
like we got into fingernails, bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever you guys really love about this movie, specific detail, put it in the comments. And who knows? Maybe the one who's got the best one, whoever's got the best. Up to us. We'll pin the comment or whatever. But you definitely comment below. And I don't know. I just want to throw this out there. I know it's a 2 hours and 40-minute movie. Okay, maybe we can address this in a couple of chunks. But we should do an audio commentary on Goodfellas at some point in time.
Yeah.
If you're ever down for the challenge.
I don't know how I feel about these commentaries, just to be it's all on Front Street, but this one is an exception.
Yeah.
This is an exception.
It could be pretty fun. I'd
come out of retirement for this one.
I want more. I want great fellas.
Yeah.
Great fellas.
Great fellas. Okay, so that was it, everybody. Thank you very much. Of course, let's talk about next week, guys. Very exciting. What we're going to do next week. Slowly
Color
approaching.
Of money.
What's a color of money? It's all in the way that
I would like to explore that one sometime.
Oh God, not for an hour.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's a tough one.
But anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Next week.
I was going to say next week we're slowly approaching the centennial of One Fucking Hour, the 100th episode. Damn. Which is pretty crazy. So we're inching closer and closer to there. Next week, of course, will be episode 98, and we made a promise to our good audience last year. Back when we were doing those, what was it, 67 to 82 polls when we were doing that run. For some fucking reason, Robert Altman lost every single time he was in the poll.
He was in the running.
Like every year.
Polls. Almost always, yeah.
Always, yeah.
And never won.
Never won. So we said that we'll have some justice for that, and we will start covering some Robert Altman films. So we're going to hit it with a big one next week. Probably my favorite of his work, I would say. So we're going to start with a banger, and of course that is Three Women. So next week we're going to do Robert Altman's Three Women.
Big deal.
That's a big deal.
Dude.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Tall order. We're going to get into it. Very exciting that we're finally getting into that. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be pretty stoked on that. So look out for that. And of course, also look out for the One Fucking Hour Patreon. Patreon.com/onefuckinghour is where you can sign up. And maybe someday we'll have the Goodfellas commentary up there, or who knows what. So get up there, $5 a month, or you can scroll underneath the video if you want all your bonus stuff on YouTube and click the join button and become a Moman of the channel for $5. And yeah. We appreciate your support. Thank you, everybody. But of course, I got to find... Oh, yeah. We can't leave you without ya.
Moment.
Oh!
Janice Rossi.
So, everybody... okay. All right. Have a great rest of your week. And we will get to you next week, everybody, for 98. God, we are really fucking coked up for this episode. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Take care.
Good stuff.
Talk to you soon. Bye. All right, take care. Bye.
Alla bruzza. Alla veloce.
Loopy nerd. We buried. He's probably stinking up the whole forest by now.
Hey, watch your mother father mouth.
Don't you tell me what to do, you little piece of shoe.
Hey, that's my aunt, you mother father. Tell you what. The both of you can grab one of my books, you mother father, Chinese dentist. You! Why'd you have to go do that? Why?
Motherfucking goddamn orange peel beef.
That was wicked, man.